A year ago, Greece appeared to be on the verge of being kicked out of the Eurozone. The country's Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras managed to convince its lenders to give it another bailout, but the price was more austerity. Large protests over the weekend have highlighted just how tough the economy is for ordinary Greeks and how far Tsipras' popularity has fallen. In a moment, we'll be getting the view from the streets of Athens, but first, our Asar Sukri has this report.
After years of economic hardship, scenes like these have become common in Greece. Thousands of people protesting against the spending cuts that have put millions of people out of work and wiped out their savings. A year ago, Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras was their hero. He and his left-wing Syriza party came to power on the promise that they would stand their ground with the international lenders who forced those cuts on the people. But those promises have been hard to keep. Over the weekend, Tsipras tried to put a positive spin on the dire state of the Greek economy.
Growth will come either way. An economy that has been compressed for 7 years in such an intense way will have, as economists say, a rebound. There will be strong growth in 2017. The issue is if this growth will be lasting.
After years of recession, Greece's economy has shown glimmers of hope. Its most recent figures showed GDP grew by 1/3% in the second quarter, better than what many economists had predicted. But the country's total debts stand at nearly $360 billion. That's more than 175% of the size of its economy, the largest debt-to-GDP ratio in the Eurozone. Unemployment is also the highest in the area, standing at more than 23% of the workforce. Tsipras has tried to keep the country afloat by seeking more international bailout money. But in order to do so, he's also had to cut government spending. So the man who once led protests like these has now become their target.
He was elected by the Greek people in order to deliver a job. And as every job, when you fail, you need to stand down. So I believe he needs to stand down.
I don't think that he's kept his promises. It's all the same.
So he just promised many things and he didn't do any of them. And I think that him saying that he's from the left party, it's a fraud.
Tsipras has promised that if the EU forgives Greece's debts, he'll make a radical change. He'll button up his famously open shirt collars and start wearing ties. But Europe's finance leaders don't look like they're in any mood to give him any ground. His ties may not see the light of day for some time yet. Azhar Sukri, TRT World.
All right, let's get more on this. Our Charlotte Dubenskij joins us live from Athens. Charlotte, when you look at it, Greece is a much different country than it was 5 years ago. It's lost a quarter of its GDP. Disposable income has gone down by 40%. Unemployment has soared to nearly 30%. And the popularity of the man that they voted in to fix all this is falling dramatically. Now, you're in Athens. You've been speaking to people on the streets. What are their views of Alexis Tsipras?
Well, that's right. Alexis Tsipras, the Prime Minister of Greece, has seen his popularity ratings fall to around 18%, Alican. That's less than his party, Syriza, which is in the low 20%. Now, I've been on the streets today talking to dozens of people in Athens, and they said very little, if anything, good about their Prime Minister. In fact, the best that they came up with was, he's still young. Now, one woman came up to me on the street when I said to her, "What do you think of your Prime Minister?" She patted me on the arm. She said, "Terrible," and walked off. But the younger generation were far more vocal about their disappointment with their Prime Minister, saying they had been bitterly disappointed with him, saying he'd come to power with this promise of this anti-austerity platform and he had failed, simply failed to deliver on that. And they felt that he was absolutely no different to any of Greece's previous Prime Ministers. And for what I got today was this massive sense of betrayal on the streets of Athens for the hope that they had for this man once, about 18 months ago, when he was first elected, to what they see now during his premiership.
So bitter disappointment, but I mean, why has he fallen so far from grace in the public's eye?
Well, when Syriza, Alexis Tsipras' party, was first elected to power in the early 2015, it came to power on this anti-austerity platform. It said it could put an end to fiscal austerity, and it said there was another way. But it soon buckled under the pressure of top EU brass and the International Monetary Fund when it was looking for a new bailout from Greece. And what we've seen are higher taxes, job cuts, there have been pension slashes, and people here on the streets say that their once star of this austerity measure has fallen far from grace and actually increased austerity measures, and they're not happy, Alican.
All right, Charlotte Dubenskij reporting for us in Athens. Thank you.